come inside, and I'll end up my elbow too far away, and he extends his arm. Okay? There is a straight arm bar here. It's actually one of my favorite submissions, but some people have problems with it. And I understand. I have a long torso and I have long arms both, so it makes it easy for me. And it's a very high percentage submission for me, but a lot of students have issues with it. There's an easier way to do it, okay? Or there's easier attack here. I know that this arm is isolated by itself because it's out here in front of my face. I can feel his right hand is in my hip, okay? So if both his hands are occupied, then I know he can't defend his neck. Okay, so I'm going to use my elbow, okay, come straight back to my side, bringing it across his chin. Okay, this is going to do one of two things. It'll either slide my arm up onto his throat, which is good, or if he's protecting his chin, it will move his head to the side, and it'll make it easier for me to put my thumb inside the gi. Okay? I don't care which one happens. Okay? I'm going to come straight back. My thumb goes inside the gi. I want my knuckles to be able to touch the ground. Okay? So if I know I have good grip, my thumb's in the gi, I grip like I'm grabbing a baseball bat and put my knuckles on the ground. All right? This grip will never move from this position. Okay, so if you start doing this and your hand is sliding, reset your grip. Get a good grip. Okay? Now all I'm doing is putting my elbow on the mat. Before I do that, I make sure that my arm is against his throat and I keep a straight wrist. So solid grip, straight wrist, lower my elbow to the mat and he'll be forced to tap. It's what's called a paper cutter. It looks like in school you had the big long arm paper cutter, and it works just like that. So we're out here, we go for the Americana. Everything's going good. He extends his arm. Oh man, I lost it. Still in perfectly fine shape because I can feel his hand sitting on my hip. Come straight back across, thumb inside the gi, knuckles on the mat. Okay. Sometimes my arm ends up on his face. I'm going to roll my elbow to ensure that my arm is on his neck. Straight wrist, elbow down to the ground, and he's forced to tap. Okay, with paper cutter. The most common defense you'll get to this, when I get here, that hand will grab my arm, okay, just like he just did. Okay, very easy to clear. One, he can never win that. He's not going to be able to stop me. It's my entire body weight versus that. But there's an even easier way. Take my right leg, move inside, put it on top of his leg. Now his arms are isolated because I've isolated both of them. Go right back to the mat. Are you good with this? Any questions?
On the isolated arm?
The one out there?
Do you just leave it hanging?
Just leave it out there. That's a great question, actually. We're going to get to here. Okay? When I'm doing this, the only thing I'm looking at is that hand. Okay? So we're right here, and I'm going to stare at that hand. Come across, get this. Okay? Some people are like, well, that arm, he'll just bring that up. And what happens to it? Right back in the Americana. Okay, he extends it again. Cool. Right back to the choke. Right? He brings it back up. Boom. So the focus here, I'm watching that hand. If I see it moving towards me, perfect. Elbow in the pocket. When I put my elbow in the pocket, see what happens? It catches it on its own. I'm not even gripping his hand. Easy to tap it. Okay? So extends out. I go straight back, and I'm just like a mouse trap waiting for that thing to come back. Boom. Americana.
So it's just basically pick how you want to get submitted.
Pick how you want to submit. And the reason, when we have the two concepts I talked about, one is isolate and extend arms, right? And the other is both hands are occupied, I choke. Okay, can you lay back down quickly? All those things have happened. It starts with arm is isolated by itself, 2 versus 1, I'm going to attack it. He extends it. It's now isolated and extended out there. I could attack it with that straight arm bar, but I know both his hands are busy. That one's busy and that one's busy. So I attack the choke. He takes that one, he blocks my arm. Cool. So that hand's back in the fight. So I isolate it. Now they're isolated by themselves. So he can't defend his neck. Brings that one back. And I attack it. Because it's still isolated by itself. That one's isolated by itself and his neck is free. So at this point it's just pick your poison. Because you have lost every battle that matters, you lost up to that point. So if your question is how do I get out of this, it doesn't exist. Okay? I have to win those positions back. I lost a battle, I lost another battle, I lost another battle, and then I just put myself in another bad position, lost another battle. I have to start to win some of those things and fix those problems. There is no technique that's going to get you out of crucifix and a paper cutter choke at the same time. What's going to happen is I have to break one choke, get that arm back inside where it belongs, get that arm back inside where it belongs, and kind of start over. So knowing that, don't do those things, right? Osiander always says you screwed up a long time ago, right? Don't do that. Don't get to the point where the gun's to your head and your hands behind your back. How do you get out of this? You don't. You get shot in the back of the head. That's what happens. Okay, you should have fought before that. So when that arm's isolated by itself, don't go sticking things in where they don't belong, right? Just fight that one battle. Fight that Americana battle. All right, he goes for the choke. I need to start moving and get out of that position, not lay flat on my back and let it get worse. Okay, the answer here, he comes back for my choke, right? And I start shrimping. I get my arm back inside. My arm doesn't belong here. That elbow's never supposed to be out there, right? It's supposed to be on the side. Okay, so this is never the correct answer. This is the correct answer. So now the arm's not isolated. It's up close to my body. It's strong. Even if he has this one, he starts to choke me. Cool. I shrimp that way, change the angle. Doesn't matter as much, and we battle.